Today, we gather with pride, gratitude, and solemn reflection as we commemorate this day, a day dedicated to honoring the life and legacy of our founding president, Sir Seretse Khama. I remember that this day was announced by His Excellency President Masire when he attended an event in Soroe at the unveiling of another statue of my father. Also present on that occasion was Charles Njonjo, who had traveled all the way from Kenya to be with us for the event. And it was Charles Njonjo who called on the government and President Masire, who announced on behalf of the government that there would be a day honoring Sir Seretse Khama. Charles Njonjo, as some of you may know, was a long life friend of my father's. They'd met at college in the UK, and he was very, very supportive of my father during the tribulations he went through during the period when my father and my mother were to be married and the resistance that they encountered. I was honored to have been invited to Charles Njonjo's 100th birthday in the year 2020. Of course, now he has departed. May his soul rest in peace. Born on July the 21st, 1921, my father was not just the rightful heir to the Bangwato chieftaincy, but a man whose wisdom, courage, and unwavering commitment to justice laid the foundation for the peaceful and democratic nation that we call our home. His story is one of principle and perseverance. Despite immense personal and political challenges, including being in exile, colonial resistance, and social prejudice, my father remained steadfast in his belief in equality, unity, and freedom. His marriage to Lady Ruth Khama, my mother, was not just a personal act of love, but a powerful symbol of defiance against racial discrimination and a beacon of hope for a more inclusive world. And then, as we all know, in 1966, as Botswana gained independence, he became our first president. And under his leadership, I believe Botswana transformed from one of the poorest countries in the world into a model of stability, good governance, and economic development. His legacy lives on in the institutions he built, the values he championed, and the peace he preserved. And today, as in many other countries in this globe, we face new challenges, be they economic, social, or environmental. We must remember the examples that were set. He taught us that progress is only possible when we work together, put our people first, and remain guided by integrity and vision. To go back a little in time, there's yet another statue representing one of my family here in this capital, with two other Dikhosi, Sibele and Batweng. Excuse me, I just lost my way here. Who went to England to seek protection. I have with me an account of their visit as captured in the English press with actual newspaper cuttings from that time back in 1895, covering the visit in this dossier, which is 130 years old, and which I have never shown in public before. I brought it here to show the President. Unfortunately, he's not here. But I'll show it to the Honorable Speaker, who's representing the President today. And you'll see that it is a very interesting account where, in England at the time, someone cut all the newspaper articles covering the visit of the three chiefs and pasted it in that dossier. And that, like I said, was 130 years ago, and I have that dossier with me here. Theirs and his was an outstanding contribution towards our country and its people. So after that, Botswana lived in the knowledge and assurance that we had the protection of the British government. Fast forward to 1951, when the feeling of betrayal by my parents that they would have felt when they were forced into exile and ripped from their home, from their people, and from their country, by those we leaned on for fairness and understanding, conniving with the apartheid regime, all because of love for one another, that they had to endure this enforced parting. That's how I came to be born in England and lived there for the first few years of my life. Some years after my father's return, he joined with others to plan the independence of this country, and in the 1960s was part of the Legislative Council that negotiated our independence from the British, and we achieved self-government, and he became the first Prime Minister and only Prime Minister, and then became President in 1966, for which you are here to commemorate. I'm proud that I come from a family that has provided service to the nation. My own mother worked in charitable causes, being president of the Botswana Red Cross Society, the Botswana Council of Women, amongst others. My sister, who worked for many years at the University of Botswana. My one brother, Tsekedi, who also became a member of parliament and minister in 2 administrations. His brother and my brother as well, Tony, who also served on the UB Council. So for them, that has been, and for me, a great achievement of service. But then, fast forward again to 2018, and the character of betrayal, persecution, and vindictiveness, this time not by the British, but by our very own, raised its evil and ugly head when my family, my friends, the tribe, and anyone associated were targeted in an unprecedented and criminal manner. Standing here as I am, representing the Khama family, as shown on this program, on this occasion commemorating Sir Seretse Khama, I would be failing in my responsibilities as such, not to draw attention to the unprecedented persecution the family of Sir Seretse has been subjected to in recent years. The family of the man we are here to honor were forced to leave their country after more than 60 years living in peace and harmony, where we were raided in theirs and our parents' homes. Our residences were searched and sealed, detained and assaulted and falsely charged, and there were attempts at poisoning, causing most of the family to move outside our country. My father would have been shocked and disgusted at the abandonment of rule of law and human rights that we and many other Botswana were subjected to. No person calling himself a Botswana could act in this way. It is ironic that one of my father's and my successors from his party, the BDP, was directly responsible for treating the founding father of this nation's family in this way. Ironic also is that the successor of leaders of a party, the BNF, that was in opposition to my father's party, should be the one to provide the conditions for Sir Seretse families to return, and who also attended my sister's funeral when no one prominent from my father's party did so, whilst trying to prevent it happening in the Soroe Kota in our village. For this, and I wish Reboko had been here, I wanted to personally thank him. To thank him on behalf of the family for allowing us to reclaim our rightful place back in Botswana amongst our fellow citizens, and for attending my sister's funeral, which we were prevented from doing. And Minister Mohaswa was also there. So to you, Raiz, for bringing this about. And please tell the President, Mohaswa, at one of his rallies before the elections, he said that when he becomes president, he would come and collect me in OK1 in South Africa and bring me back to Botswana. But I came back before he could do that. So a flight in OK1 at some stage. I also wish to thank again all those who supported us inside and outside our country during those challenging times. I stand here in the shadow of the statue of my father and that of my grandfather, not to ask for accolades or praise or gratitude or thanks for our service. All we ask for is justice for everyone, not just for us, as provided for in our Constitution and what we are entitled to. Let this day be more than a tribute. Let it be a reminder of our responsibility to build on my father's legacy. Let us continue to promote unity, to uphold democracy, and commit ourselves to service just as he did. May his memory continue to inspire us, and may Botswana forever honor the legacy that we have embraced. And I bring on behalf of the celebrations that are taking place in Soroe our gratitude to the government for their contributions and support for the events taking place there in Soroe. And to you, specifically, Minister Mohaswa, I would like to thank you for your guidance, your support, and your facilitation. I thank you all for your attention.